and welcome to the Economic Times Cutting Chai Stories, an initiative by ETH. I'm Ashwani Mishra, and as part of this initiative, we bring to you conversations with CXOs over a cup of chai and find out about their personal and professional journeys over the years, key lessons learned, their regrets, their hobbies, and what did it take for them to reach where they are today. Joining me is Anil Jain, Chief Technology Officer at InSolutions Global, a digital payments company. Welcome, Anil, on Cutting Chai Stories.
Thank you, Ashwani. Thanks for having me on your channel.
It's a pleasure to host you, Anil. Anil, can you share with us the story behind your transformation, from an average student till class 8 to excelling in studies from then onwards? Was there an influencer or was it self-driven?
So, well, my father's was a transferable job. So in my class 9th, he had got transferred to Raipur, and I joined a school. In my very first class, as soon as I entered, I mean, in that school, quite a few things had happened that changed the entire course of my life. And one of the things was that as soon as I entered my first class, it was being taken by Datta sir, a physics teacher. Unfortunately, I yawned at that time, and he shouted at me,
Okay.
"Hathi ghoda kha ke aaya hai kya?" And so he was one teacher, who wanted complete attention of the students, and he always prodded the students to apply their thinking mind, apply the concepts to the physics. And that day onwards, I became very attentive in his classes. And, I, over the period of time, so I started responding to every question he asked in the class. Initially, I was wrong in some of the questions, but over the period of time, I became a favorite student of Datta sir. So he was one key influencer. And the other incident that happened during that time was that, I joined this class, and in one of the periods, some students started moving out of the class. So I was wondering what happened. So I asked my neighboring student why some of these students are going. He said that those who have taken maths will stay in this class, and those who have taken biology will go to the next class. And I wondered, oh, I have to choose a subject in class 9th. So I saw some intelligent looking student sitting in that class itself. And I also decided that let me sit in the maths class. And this is how I took maths. After some time, the teacher came. He asked me, Anil, what was your score in class 8th in maths? Though I had scored just 35%, barely passing marks, I had no other option but to bluff him. I said, I scored 55%. He said, where's your mark sheet? I said, I'm sorry, sir, I've lost my mark sheet. And this is how I took maths. But over the period of time, I started focusing on my maths. I started learning from a good friend of mine. By the next year, that is in class 10th, I was selected in National Talent Search Examination, first at the state level and then at the national level. And, in further next year, I cracked IIT JEE with a fairly decent rank. So
that's a terrific transformation in that way.
Yes, it was indeed. Thanks to Datta sir. Wherever he is, I would really like to convey my regards to him.
So in a way, he did influence you in your academic career.
Absolutely.
Right. You did your mechanical engineering from IIT Bombay. Anil,
yes.
You passed out in '92, and you went on to co-found your own company. That's around 30 years back.
Correct.
What made you take up the startup route, and more so at a time when the concept was just beginning to emerge?
Yes, absolutely. So, during my passing years in IIT Bombay, I was always given these concepts of that you should be a job generator rather than job seeker. So that motivated me to take to entrepreneurship. In fact, there was a batchmate of mine. Both of us founded a training center, a franchise training center, and that was the in thing at that time. But I was more, ambitious. So therefore, in partnership with a company, a national level company, one of the top 5 companies, I founded my own software development company, and I picked up one very good project of automating a housing finance company. That was my first software project, where I learned a lot, and that made me traverse through the software, in the software domain.
Right. And you were there for quite a long time, right? So
So
you were there for
yes,
15 years, I believe.
so I persevered entrepreneurship for full 15 years, and I uh, developed a total branch automation software which was used by many cooperative banks in central India. I automated one NIT, automated one diesel shed Cutney, which was a very good, interesting project. So I persevered for it, and I was never interested in taking to job, but it was a friend of mine who contacted me from Indore, and I used to live in Bhopal. And he contacted me. He asked me that, "Are you interested in such and such offer?" I just gave him my expectation, thinking that he will never return back. But the next day he called me saying that yes, we are okay to offer you that kind of package. And I thought that let me go join them, and maybe I will remote control my company, a software company, because I fortunately had a brother who could handle it. And that's
Okay.
how I took to job around 13, 14 years before.
Right. So that was your first move into the corporate world with Web Dunia.
Yes, yes, yes,
Anil,
correct.
just revisiting your IIT Bombay days, was it all studies, or you were also involved with some extracurricular activities, college elections and such stuff?
Correct. So when I had joined IIT, I joined it with a free mind. I said that I have already made it big by joining IITs. So let me just not focus on the academics. Instead, I wanted to focus on extracurricular activities as well. So all during my almost entire stay in the hostel, I was in one or the other elected position, and I was involved in many social activities at IIT.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
And one question that I had, Anil, so you did your mechanical engineering and then moved into, software, you've developed and created products. How did that shift happen?
So, when I took to entrepreneurship, at that time, the computer industry, the IT industry was doing great. And I thought that let me enter into this industry. And when I started doing the software, I realized that I have a knack of picking up the domain knowledge. So I learned this housing finance domain knowledge. I did not know. I was from the technical background, so I did not know the debit, credit. So there was a good mentor I found at this housing finance company called Mr. Sanjay Joshi. He taught
Okay,
me everything. He used to call the vouchers. He used to call the ledger. He taught me how the vouching is done, how the NPA provisioning is done. So from there, I picked up the domain knowledge, and then on whichever product I picked up, I was so I used to learn that domain knowledge and marry that domain knowledge with the technology and serve that domain on the platter of technology to our customers. And it worked quite well. Even today, in my present company, I've come up with quite a few innovative solutions, and that's because I understand the domain pretty well, and I know the technology pretty well, so I'm able to marry the two together.
right. Post Web Dunia, I believe you joined espart group of
Yes.
industries, Anil,
So
right?
yes, I joined. So I got in touch with Mr. Vinod Mittal, the younger brother of Ellen Mittal, and he wanted to, he wanted me to head the IT of the group, the Spark group, and I did a lot of innovative solution in that. So a lot of RFID based vehicle tracking solution, or a VTS vehicle tracking system. Using that, how to ensure that the theft does not happen on the barges. So many such solutions I did with that group. And so that was the first time that when I went from IT to the business side. In
Right.
the business, IT is a supporting thing, whereas when you are in the IT industry, you are the main revenue driver. So that
True.
was the first time.
How have you managed to lead and inspire your team, Anil? right from the initial phase of being a part of a startup journey and then into the corporate role, and in the current scenario,
Yeah.
how do you lead your team, and what is the unique capabilities that make people attracted towards you?
So when I started the entrepreneurship, I was a little impatient and aggressive. At times, used to shout at vendors. But over the period of time, I realized, and in fact, the initial struggle of that entrepreneurship at that time, made me a little short-tempered. But over the period of time, I realized that perhaps these, qualities or so-called qualities do not help you yield result. So over the period of time with all these ups and downs, I learned that being patient is one attribute which is going to pay you in the long run, and that has helped me drive my team pretty well even now, and all in all my previous engagements. I maintain my silence, maintain my calm even in trying situations, and that's how I have been able to handle my team. So even the teams which I led in my previous jobs, they all of them remain in touch with me, and
Okay.
that has really helped me a lot.
And in terms of the corporate mandate, we there is a vision, there's a goal that everyone follows or wants to achieve. Uh, is there something that you have missed out on this professional journey? Something, any regrets that you hold, Anil?
So I always feel that in my career I'm still to make it big in life. So I'm still waiting for that opportunity when I will be able to make it big. When I was doing an entrepreneurship, I slightly missed a great opportunity. If I had that housing finance company, automation of that, there if I had taken it further, perhaps today I would have been a national level company, because housing finance at that time in the early 2000 was just
True.
picking up.
Right.
So I'm still hoping that I will be able to make it big in the remaining years.
Apart from the corporate mandate, Anil, do you have something with like a personal mission, something that you would like to do after you retire?
So one is that I have this penchant for singing right from my college days. I
Oh, okay.
love singing Kishore Kumar songs. So I continue to do that whenever I get time. In fact, I utilize the lockdown period when I started taking online classes with a music teacher. So I never had a formal classes in music earlier, so I
Right.
have started learning the various rags, how to apply those rags in your songs, how to ensure that you don't go out of tune
True.
or out of beat. So all that I have started learning, and that's something which I will be taking it forward. That's one thing, and of course, the sports has been very I have already always been enthusiastic about sports. So during my school days, I used to play a lot of cricket, football, badminton, table tennis. So for the last few years, I have been missing action on that front. So recently, I've started playing tennis, and I get up at 5:30, go to the court, and that 1 hour, 1.5 hours is the best time of the day. That drives me for the whole day. I get the energy for the whole day from that part of
That
the day.
keeps you fit as well. So,
Yes,
that
absolutely, absolutely.
right. Just coming back to the music piece, Anil, so any favorite rags that you have, or one of them which is a favorite to you?
So though this is a recent knowledge that I have just started picking up, but I found so far that rag Bhairavi is one rag which is very good rag, and which is used in
Very
many
common.
songs.
Yes, yes,
Very
yes.
common rag and used in many songs. And I've just recently realized that in one song you can have multiple rags as well.
Right.
So that's also one beauty that I've just started learning.
If not a tech leader, Anil, what another role would you have taken?
Well, I had not imagined that I will be away from the technology. If not the software technology, then perhaps I would have continued in my mechanical engineering domain. I had joined, in fact, SR Steel right in my campus from IIT Bombay, so I would have continued doing that.
Any just a final closing question, Anil. You've touched upon your journey in terms of, you were part of a startup system, you moved into the enterprise space, now with your current organization. What kind of experience do you bring to the table, especially as a mentor, for the younger generation?
So for the younger generation, how you should persevere with whatever knowledge, whatever domain, whatever career you are into in, persevere in space. And that's what I always guide my mentees, that whatever you are doing, please do it with focused mind and give it some time. With time only you can achieve success in that particular domain. Perhaps doing something for some time without any much focus, that doesn't yield much result in the long run.
Results. Very well said, Anil. Right. Anil, thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure speaking with you, and all
Thank
the
you,
best.
Ashwini. Thank you, Ashwini. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.